Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to share with you will completely transform the way you think about wealth, success, and your own unlimited potential. Right now, in this very moment, you are sitting on top of the most powerful wealth creation machine that has ever existed in the history of humanity. This machine isn't some external device or technology. It's not a computer. It's not artificial intelligence. It's not some revolutionary app. This machine is your mind. And the shocking truth is that 98% of people go through their entire lives without ever learning how to operate this incredible machine properly. I want you to imagine for a moment that you inherited the most advanced sports car ever built. This car has the capability to reach speeds that would make your head spin, to take you to destinations beyond your wildest dreams, to provide you with experiences that most people only fantasize about. But here's the catch. Nobody ever taught you how to drive it. Nobody ever showed you where the ignition is, how to shift gears, how to steer, or even how to start the engine. So what happens? You sit in this magnificent machine, frustrated, confused, wondering why nothing is happening, while all around you, other people who learn the secrets of operation are racing past you at incredible speeds, reaching their destinations while you remain stuck in the same place. This is exactly what's happening to your mind right now. You have been given the most sophisticated success creation mechanism that exists, but nobody taught you the instruction manual. Nobody showed you the principles, the laws, the specific steps that will turn your thoughts into tangible wealth. And that's exactly what I'm going to do for you today. I'm going to hand you the keys to your own mental fortune factory. The first thing you must understand is that everything that exists in your physical reality started as a thought in someone's mind. Every building you see around you, every piece of technology you use, every system that governs our society, every invention that has ever improved human life, all of it began as an invisible idea in the realm of thought. The chair you're sitting on right now, the device you're watching this on, the clothes you're wearing, none of these things existed until someone first conceived them in their mind. But here's where it gets really interesting. Most people think that thought is just this random, uncontrollable thing that happens to them. They believe they're victims of their thinking, that thoughts just appear randomly and they have no choice but to accept whatever mental content shows up. This is absolutely false. Your thoughts are not random events happening to you. They are tools that you can learn to direct with incredible precision. Think about this for a moment. When you decide to move your arm moves. When you decide to walk across the room, your legs carry you there. When you decide to speak, words come out of your mouth. You have direct conscious control over these physical actions. But somehow, when it comes to your thoughts, most people act as if they have no control whatsoever. They let their minds run wild, producing fear, doubt, limitation, and negativity, and then they wonder why their external circumstances reflect those same patterns. The truth is that you can learn to control your thoughts with the same precision that you control your physical movements. And when you master this skill, you gain access to a power that very few people ever discover. You become capable of literally thinking your way into wealth. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. You're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. If it were really this simple, wouldn't everyone be wealthy? And that's exactly the point. It is this simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. Learning to control your thoughts and direct them toward wealth creation requires the same kind of discipline and practice that it takes to become an expert at anything else. Most people never develop this discipline because they've been conditioned to believe that wealth comes from external sources. They believe that money comes from jobs, from other people, from luck, from connections, from circumstances beyond their control. They spend their entire lives looking outside themselves for the source of their financial supply, never realizing that the true source has been within them all along. But here's what the wealthy know that others don't. Every single person who has ever created significant wealth understood that money is first and foremost a mental phenomenon. Before it becomes numbers in a bank account, before it becomes physical currency, before it becomes material possessions, money exists as a definite idea in the mind. When you begin to understand this principle, you start to see wealth creation in a completely different way. Instead of asking, how can I get money? You start asking, how can I become the type of person who naturally attracts wealth? Instead of focusing on what you lack, you begin focusing on what you can develop within yourself. The first step in this transformation is developing what I call definite purpose. Most people live their entire lives without ever clearly defining what they want. They have vague wishes, general hopes, and unclear desires. But they never sit down and create a specific, detailed, written description of exactly what they want to achieve. This is like trying to drive to a destination without knowing the address. You might get in your car and start driving, but without a clear destination, you'll end up wandering aimlessly, wasting time, energy, and fuel, never arriving anywhere meaningful. Your mind works the same way. Without a definite target, your mental energy scatters in all directions, producing random results instead of focused outcomes. But when you define your purpose with absolute clarity, something remarkable happens. Your mind becomes like a guided missile, automatically seeking out opportunities, ideas, and resources that will move you toward your target. You begin to notice things that were always there, but were invisible to you before. You start making connections that seemed impossible. You find yourself in the right place at the right time with increasing frequency. This isn't magic or mysticism. This is how your brain actually works. Your brain has a built-in filtering system called the reticular activating system. This system determines what information from your environment you pay attention to and what you ignore. Right now, there are millions of pieces of information available to your senses, but you can only consciously process a tiny fraction of them. Your reticular activating system decides which fraction you notice. When you program your reticular activating system with a definite purpose, it begins highlighting everything in your environment that relates to achieving that purpose. Opportunities that were always present suddenly become visible. Resources that were always available suddenly appear obvious. People who could help you suddenly seem to show up everywhere. But here's the crucial part. Your purpose must be more than just a wish or a hope. It must be a burning desire that dominates your thoughts. Most people think they want wealth, but they don't really want it. They want the idea of wealth. They want the fantasy of wealth, but they don't want it badly enough to do what's necessary to get it. Real desire is different. Real desire creates an internal pressure that makes inaction impossible. Real desire turns you into a person who takes action even when you don't feel like it, even when you're scared, even when you don't know exactly how things will work out. Real desire makes you persistent in the face of obstacles and setbacks. Think about the last time you were really thirsty. Not just a little thirsty, but desperately thirsty. Remember how that feeling dominated your attention? Remember how you couldn't think about anything else until you found something to drink? Remember how you would have done almost anything to get water? That's the level of desire you need to develop for your financial goals. Those people never develop this level of desire because they're comfortable enough with their current situation. They have enough to survive, so they never develop the burning hunger that drives real achievement. They settle for mediocrity because mediocrity doesn't hurt badly enough to force them into action. But here's what I want you to understand. Mediocrity is actually the most expensive way to live. When you settle for less than your potential, you're not just missing out on money, you're missing out on the person you could become. You're missing out on the impact you could have. You're missing out on the experiences you could enjoy. You're missing out on the contribution you could make to the world. The price of not pursuing your full potential is far higher than the price of pursuing it. The effort required to build wealth is temporary, but the regret of not trying lasts forever. The challenges you face while growing are temporary, but the satisfaction of achieving your goals lasts a lifetime. So how do you develop this burning desire? The first step is to get absolutely clear about what wealth would mean for you personally. Not what it means for other people, not what society tells you it should mean, but what it would actually mean for your life. Most people think about wealth in terms of what they could buy, but that's actually the least important part. The real value of wealth is the freedom it provides. Freedom from financial stress. Freedom to make choices based on what you want rather than what you can afford. Freedom to take risks and pursue opportunities. Freedom to help others on a larger scale. Freedom to live according to your values rather than your financial limitations. When you connect your desire for wealth to your deepest values and your highest aspirations, that desire becomes unshakable. It becomes something that pulls you forward even when everything else is pushing you backward. But desire alone isn't enough. Desire is the fuel, but you also need a vehicle. That vehicle is unwavering faith in your ability to achieve your goals. And this is where most people get stuck. They want wealth, but they don't truly believe they can achieve it. They hope they can, they wish they could, but deep down they doubt their own capabilities. This doubt acts like a brake on your progress. Even if you take action, doubt causes you to take weak action, inconsistent action, half-hearted action. Doubt makes you quit at the first sign of difficulty. Doubt makes you accept excuses that you would never accept if you truly believe success was inevitable. Faith, on the other hand, is a decision. It's not something that happens to you, it's something you choose. You don't wait to feel confident before you act. You act your way into confidence. You behave as if success is inevitable, and that behavior eventually creates the inner conviction that matches your outer actions. Here's a crucial distinction that most people miss. Faith is not blind optimism. Faith is not pretending that challenges don't exist. Faith is not ignoring reality. Real faith is based on understanding the principles that govern success and knowing that if you apply those principles consistently, you will get predictable results. Then you understand that success follows universal laws just like physics follows universal laws. Faith becomes logical. You don't need faith to believe that if you drop a ball, it will fall to the ground. You know it will fall because you understand the law of gravity. In the same way, when you understand the laws of success, you know that if you apply certain principles, you will achieve certain results. The law of attraction is one of these universal principles, but it's been badly misunderstood by most people. The law of attraction is not about sitting around visualizing and waiting for things to magically appear. The law of attraction is about becoming magnetic to the experiences you want by aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desired outcomes. Think about it this way. Right now, you're constantly attracting experiences into your life. You're attracting the people you spend time with, the opportunities that come your way, the challenges you face, and the solutions you discover. You're already using the law of attraction. The question is whether you're using it consciously or unconsciously. Most people use it unconsciously, which means they attract whatever they think about most often. And what do most people think about most often? Problems, limitations, fears, and everything they don't want. Then they wonder why their lives seem to be full of problems, limitations, and things they don't want. But when you begin to use the law of attraction consciously, you start deliberately focusing your attention on what you want to create. You spend more time thinking about solutions than problems. You spend more time thinking about possibilities than limitations. You spend more time thinking about your goals than your obstacles. This shift in focus doesn't just make you feel better, it literally changes what you notice in your environment and how you respond to situations. When your mind is focused on solutions, you see solutions everywhere. When your mind is focused on opportunities, you recognize opportunities that others miss. When your mind is focused on growth, you see every challenge as a chance to develop new capabilities. But here's where most people make a critical error. They think that positive thinking alone is enough. They think that if they just maintain a positive attitude, wealth will somehow materialize. This is like thinking that if you just believe in your destination, you'll arrive there without actually driving. Positive thinking must be combined with intelligent action. Your thoughts determine your direction, but your actions determine your destination. You need both components working together to create real results. Creative action means taking action that is specifically designed to move you toward your goals. Not just any action, not just busy work, but strategic action based on proven principles. This is where most people waste enormous amounts of time and energy. They take random actions hoping something will work, instead of taking systematic actions based on understanding what actually produces results. The wealthy understand that success leaves clues. Every person who has achieved financial success did certain things in a certain way. They may have done them in different fields, in different time periods, with different personalities, but the underlying principles remain the same. One of the most important of these principles is the principle of specialized knowledge. In today's economy, general knowledge has very little value. Anyone can access general information instantly through the internet. What has tremendous value is specialized knowledge, deep expertise in specific areas that solve specific problems for specific people. Most people make the mistake of trying to be good at everything instead of becoming excellent at something. They spread their learning across dozens of different areas instead of developing mastery in one or two key areas. This keeps them perpetually amateur instead of helping them become professional. But when you choose to specialize, when you commit to becoming among the best in the world at solving a particular type of problem, you automatically become valuable to the marketplace. People will pay premium prices for expertise, but they will only pay average prices for average abilities. The key is to choose your specialization based on three factors. First, it should be something that the marketplace values highly. Second, it should be something that you have the potential to become exceptionally good at. Third, it should be something that you find engaging enough to pursue with sustained effort over time. Most people pick specializations based on only one of these factors and then wonder why they struggle. They choose something they enjoy, but that the marketplace doesn't value, and then they can't make money from it. Or they choose something the marketplace values, but that they hate doing, and then they burn out. Or they choose something they enjoy and that the marketplace values, but that they have no natural aptitude for, and then they never become good enough to command premium prices. But when you find the intersection of all three factors, you discover what I call your wealth zone. This is the area where your natural talents, the marketplace's needs, and your personal interests overlap. When you operate in this zone, work doesn't feel like work. You naturally want to get better because you're interested in the subject. The marketplace rewards you generously because you're solving valuable problems, and you have the natural ability to become truly excellent. Finding your wealth zone might take some experimentation, but is one of the most important investments you can make. Most people spend more time planning their vacation than they spend planning their career. They drift into whatever opportunities happen to present themselves, instead of deliberately crafting a path that leads where they want to go. Once you identify your wealth zone, the next step is to develop what I call organized planning. This is where most people's dreams die. They have big goals and good intentions, but they never create specific, detailed plans for achieving their objectives. They think that somehow just wanting something badly enough will automatically show them how to get it. But wishing is not a strategy. Hoping is not a plan. You need a clear step-by-step roadmap that breaks your big goal down into smaller, manageable actions that you can take consistently over time. Your plan should be specific enough that someone else could follow it and get similar results. Most people's plans are too vague to be useful. They say things like, I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to invest in real estate, or I'm going to get a better job. These aren't plans, these are just statements of intention. A real plan includes specific timelines, specific resources, specific steps, and specific metrics for measuring progress. Your plan should also be flexible enough to adapt as you learn more about what works and what doesn't. The goal is not to create a perfect plan from the beginning. That's impossible because you don't know what you don't know. The goal is to create a plan that's good enough to get you started and detailed enough to guide your daily actions. As you take action on your plan, you'll discover new information that allows you to refine your approach. You'll find out which strategies work better than others. You'll discover resources you didn't know existed. You'll meet people who can help you in ways you never anticipated. But none of this learning can happen until you start taking action based on some kind of plan. Here's a crucial insight that most people miss. Your first plan doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be started. You can adjust course as you go, but you can't adjust course until you're actually moving. Many people spend months or even years trying to create the perfect plan, never realizing that the act of taking imperfect action based on an imperfect plan will teach them more than any amount of theoretical planning. This brings us to one of the most important success principles of all, the principle of persistent action. Persistence is not just continuing to do the same thing over and over again, hoping for different results. Real persistence is the ability to maintain your commitment to your goal while adapting your methods based on what you learn. Most people give up just before they break through. They take action for a few weeks or a few months, don't see immediate results, and conclude that their approach isn't working. But building wealth is like building muscle. The results are not immediately visible, but they are accumulating beneath the surface. Every action you take is either moving you closer to your goal or teaching you something valuable about how to get there faster. The challenge is that in our instant gratification society, most people expect immediate results from everything they do. They want their financial situation to change as quickly as they can change the channel on their television. But wealth building is more like growing a tree than microwaving dinner. It takes time for the roots to develop, for the trunk to strengthen, and for the branches to grow. But once the tree is mature, it can provide fruit for decades. This is why most people never build significant wealth. They plant seeds, but don't water them long enough for them to grow. They start projects, but don't finish them. They begin developing skills, but don't persist long enough to achieve mastery. They give up on their dreams just when they're about to break through to the next level.